Done the sound check.
Everybody's in a good mood today.
City Council will be in order. All rise.
The snow makes you happy, right?
There are no commemoratives tonight, so we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mr. President. Councilor Devlin is absent. Councilor Earls. Present. Councilor Agaman.
Here.
Councilor Junta.
Present.
Councilor Tonto.
Here.
Councilor Vogel.
Present.
Councilor Zede.
Present.
Councilor Cameron.
Here.
Councilor Cronin.
Present.
Council President Pro Tem Connell.
Present.
Councilor O'Brien is also absent. 2 absent, 9 present.
Okay, do we have any late file items?
We have no late file items. Wow.
Hallelujah.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll move on to public comment. Oh, good. First on our list is Crispin Miller from Parker Ridge Way.
President Program and councilors, my name is Crispin Miller, and I'm the chair of the Tree Commission. And I'm here to speak to the request for $10,000 from free cash. My speech will be very short. The DPS has taken down 157 sick, diseased trees this year. We have purchased, planted, and cared for 55. We're in the hole by about a lot. Because previous years we've been in the hole as well. My mathematics won't allow me to calculate that. So I would ask your indulgence to consider this $10,000. It will buy and it will plant and it will care for 2 years, 16 trees. Any questions?
It'll be up on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought it was 20.
Yeah, I have a question. How come it says 20?
Okay, handwriting is always a challenge for me. Amir Ibrahim, I believe?
Yes.
Thank you. I hope I didn't mispronounce your name.
Nope, you got it right. Good evening, councilors. My name is Amr Ibrahim, and I live on 85 Prospect Street, and I've lived here in Newburyport almost 12 years now, and I think you all have my resume in front of you, and I'm asking for your consideration for the vacant position in the Newburyport Human Rights Commission. And given the current conditions today, I think this commission is now even more important than ever. And as such, I would like to be a part of this group and to help protect and uphold the civil rights and constitutional rights of every individual in Newburyport. And as an American-born ethnic minority and Muslim, I think I will bring a new and important perspective to the commission as well. And from both a personal and societal point of view, I think diversity, mutual respect, and mutual understanding are of utmost importance in this day and age today. And as such, I feel there's no room for any hate, prejudice in our community, our city, our state, or our country. And also, I just wanted to add too, I was very impressed and touched by the recent City Council resolution, the last meeting that was passed on about the protection of civil rights, both in Newburyport and in support of the Human Rights Commission. And this really makes me very proud to live in such a great community and great country, and I ask for your consideration for this position.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. Ann Orman.
Good evening. I wish I could be as eloquent as
Just sing it.
You can sing it.
I could sing it, that's true. Well, how long do you want to be here now? Good evening, gentlemen of the City Council and Clerk Jones. In your packets is our letter to the council for use of streets for the upcoming year. I did not ask the paper to put the article in the paper today. I'm not really sure how that happened, but nonetheless, it was in there, but I did not give them a press release. I just want to let you know, Springfest, which I think there were some concerns voiced about sort of that event and trying to make it more cultural. We already have 3 cultural art stops, if you will, that will happen that weekend. And I can tell more to public safety when we meet with them, but just quickly, Zach Field's Theater in the Open and Senior Emerging at Any Age, which, thank God, it's, emerging at any age, is a senior art group that will be featured that weekend as well. And we'll have them all around the town to kind of move people around. So that's just a little bit of how we're trying to embrace the whole culture piece and add that to the festival. So look forward to meeting with the Public Safety Committee on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Jessica, sir. Jessica, 59 Washington Street. Signed up.
Was that the woman who was here?
Okay, I guess she's not here.
Oh, thanks. I think she met with...
She might have had to leave. She was here to speak about the Spring Fever 5K.
Oh, yeah. Mr. President, she met with public safety on that.
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently she's changed her mind about addressing the full council. Public comment being over, is there a mayor's comment? Oh. No, that's all right.
Can you sing? I want somebody singing tonight.
Okay, I'm going to ask the clerk to run us through the consent agenda, please.
May I sing it?
No.
No, please no.
Approval of the minutes, January 30th, 2017. There's 2 transfers. Transfer number 2, Mayor's Office, free cash, $10,000 to maintain trees, we just heard about. That's to go to Budget and Finance. Transfer number 3, Clerk's Office, free cash, $5K to go to Elections and Registration. That's to go to Budget and Finance also. There are a number of communications. First 2 will go to Public Safety. A letter from the Charter School regarding flasher beacons on Low Street. And there's a letter from the Chamber regarding use of downtown streets. Next communication is to be received and filed. It's an event application regarding Plum Fest to be held May 20th, 2017 on Plum Island. Next is the Chocolate Tour, sponsored by the Central Congregational Church, to be held May 20th, 2017 to go to Public Safety. Next is Seacoast Taxi, an application by Richard Hewlett for calendar year 2017 to go to License and Permits. Port Taxi, application by Harold Condon for 2017 to go to the same, license and permits. A letter from the Custom House Maritime Museum regarding the Lower Custom House Way, receive and file. And a letter regarding the 1 Billion Rising event, February 18th in Market Square, to be received and filed also. First appointment, Stephen D. Hines, Special Police Officer. Next 2 are reappointments. Amir Ibrahim, Human Rights Committee, 6/1/2018. Next is Paul J. Harrington to the Tree Commission until March 1st, 2020. And that is the consent agenda.
Okay, what's the will of the council?
Just a point of order. The gentleman for the Human Rights Commission, is that a reappointment or is that an appointment? Just based on his comment, it sounds like an
It
appointment.
must be an appointment.
It's filling a vacated position.
Is there any value in amending to bring it to appointments for accuracy?
I'm going to make a note right here
Okay.
that it's an appointment, not a reappointment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to approve then?
Good catch, Counselor. Is there a second? Second. Second, Counselor Tantar. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's move on to the, since we're not doing the mayor's update,
There's no mayor's update.
that being the end of the consent agenda, let's move forward. I guess we'll start off with appointments. The clerk would read through these appointments, and then we can act on them.
Okay. First appointment is Robert A. Cook, 19 Everett Drive, Water Sewer Commission, until February 13th, 2020. Next is Jenny Donahue, 18 Cherry Street, to the Disabilities Commission, March 1st, 2020. Anthony J. for John Fenari, 10 Olson Road, Peabody, DPS Director, February 1st, 2020. Paul Hogg, 4 Colton Drive, Shellfish, Constable, 3/1/2020. Andrew R. Port, 61 Water Street, Unit 5, Planning Director, January 31st, 2019. John Tomaz, 38 Storybrook Drive, Water Sewer Commission, February 13th, 2020. David Zink, 6 Laurel Road, Electrical Inspector, January 31st, 2018. Those are the appointments.
Motion to approve collectively?
Second.
I have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, I'm sorry. It has to be a roll call.
Has to be a roll call.
Thank you for the correction.
No problem. Councilor Earls.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Councilor Junta.
Yes.
Councilor Tontar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Cronin.
Yes.
They can't tell us apart. So.
Limited, I'm limited.
Ordinances. Now we got orders first. Let's do those.
We have 2 tabled orders. The first tabled order is the parking restriction Howard Street at Chapel Street.
Motion to remove from the table?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's removed.
Motion to approve? Second.
Is there discussion?
At the
Councilor
last
Spencer?
meeting, Councilor Cameron and Councilor Earls raised questions about this no parking area. I went and talked to the neighbors again. They're very happy with it. It's in front of one house, 17 Howard Street. And though it might seem like a long distance, 130 feet, but it's 20 feet back anyway from the intersection where you can't park. There's a driveway that comes out there. And so I think I'd say it takes away 1 parking space. It's a tricky place, and the person who lives there in 17 is perfectly happy with it, and the person across the street is thrilled with it. So I would urge you to vote yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, after that night, I did drive by there, and yeah, it's 113 feet, and it's definitely, I think it's warranted.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. The next item, in order, where are we?
It's
82?
tabled order on stop sign Howard Street at Chapel Street.
Motion to remove from the table?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's off the table.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Councilor, would you like to address this issue?
Yeah, this is similar to the other one. This is what should be a 3-way stop sign at Chapel and Howard. Again, coming up Howard, going toward downtown, it's a fairly steep hill with the new houses on the left side of Howard Street. It is a blind spot as you're coming up. The Wayne Amaral, thought that it really did need a stop sign there. I have talked to some of the neighbors the feeling for a stop sign there. It's not uniform. People are not uniformly happy with it, but I think they will live with it. The people actually who requested it, the 16 and 17 Howard, are thrilled with it.
Yeah, that's true.
And it is a public safety issue.
Further discussion,
Thank
Councilor?
you. So is this 2 new stop signs on Howard coming towards town and on Howard going out of, towards, coming up from Forester and then going down from Forester? Because it is a 3-way intersection.
It's Chapel, not Forester. Right.
There already is one on Chapel. That got put there a couple of years ago. So coming up the hill.
Yeah, so they're adding, the order is for a 3-way stop sign at the intersection of Chapel and Howard Streets.
It's a T.
Okay.
It's a T.
So we just designate it as a stop intersection, and then they deal with it in terms of the signage.
Right.
Okay.
Other comments? If there's no objection from the membership, the chair would like to address the issue. I do have a problem with the stop sign going up the hill, for the simple reason that if you get stuck behind a stop sign there, you're not going to get started again on a snowy night, snowy day. I don't know if the neighbors expressed any concern about that. Pretty steep.
Can I respond? I didn't hear anything specifically about snow, but it actually is the line of sight coming up that hill where a driver cannot see up over the hill that causes the public safety problem.
Yeah. All right. Councilor Earls?
I was originally against this stop sign because of the hill. I don't like the fact stopping on the hill and then restarting is bad emissions, it's all the clutch burning and all that horrible stuff. But however, when I was a ward councilor, most of the body usually deferred when it was a local issue such as that. So I will defer. You did your due diligence, and I will approve.
Further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No.
Something about that seat.
Third item in the orders.
This is a order, City Council approves the following licensed contractor application for water, sewer, drain, layer, road work, and side work. TW Excavating, 108 Newburyport Turnpike, Newbury.
Motion to refer to public utilities?
Second.
The motion is to move this to public utilities. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Next order, please.
This is order number 7, reads as follows. City Council pursuant to Code Section 12-32, name of streets and highways, and MGL 85, Section 3, change of name of ways or parks, hereby authorizes by a 2/3 vote the name of the public way known as Park Circle to be changed to Kelleher Way. And the next is blank because there's a public hearing that is scheduled if this body so chooses.
Motion to refer to Neighborhood and City Services?
Second.
And seconded. Does the clerk want to tell us more about the scheduled date of the public hearing?
Before the next meeting, which is February 27th at 7:15 p.m., there'll be a public hearing on this change of name from Park Circle to Kelleher Way. Councilor Junt has been very involved in it. We are sending out letters to all the abutters. That list came from the assessors and from the Newburyport Housing Authority. And that's really all there is to say.
Is there a date on that?
Councilor Earls?
There is a tenants council now, as I think you are aware, so it would be beneficial to reach out to the council. It may be more effective than the mail, actually, them each individually getting a letter. So if you could possibly make that reach out, and I could maybe make that happen because I know somebody intimately who works with the council.
So you two councilors could get together on that, that'd be terrific. Yes, Councilor Genta.
Just to give you a little bit of background, since we have a little conversation going, I've been working with the Director of Housing very closely in regards to this, just because I believe we have 44 homes over there, and there's a lot of paperwork involved with changing your license and your electric bill and your gas bill and et cetera. So we're working closely with them to make sure that the residents know what's happening and also know that they have the services through the Housing Authority to help them do all the paperwork that's necessary. And when we have the hearing in 2 weeks, I'll talk more about the why we picked Kelleher, the background behind it, and we'll get more into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Councilor Eigenman.
Well, I'm going to support the motion, but I just want to point out it probably should go to public utilities. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it because, you know, it's not a big deal. But for future reference, I don't want to make it seem like we're yielding jurisdiction over streets. That's all. Thanks.
Point taken.
It's the wish of the president.
That's what I thought was going.
We could offer joint jurisdiction on it and hold our meeting together?
Sure.
If we have a motion to that effect.
Yep. Also, a motion to refer to public utilities.
So you're amending your previous motion?
I am.
Second.
In the second? So everyone understands what the motion is. It's a joint referral to Neighborhood and City Services and Public Utilities.
Thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Councilor.
Can I have a point of order, please?
Yes, Councilor Vogel.
I'm sorry, I should have spoken up before you closed that. Is the public meeting coming before the joint committee meetings? I'm trying to figure out what the timing is
Do you
here.
want to speak on that? We've had a lot of conversation about this, so.
Yes, it is. That's why we put it in tonight, so that it wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. But it's really two separate rungs. If you want, the letters haven't gone out, we could postpone it for 2 more weeks, but we thought it was
I don't have
speedy.
it. All I want to know is what the timing is.
Yeah, that's what the timing is. The ordinance says there shall be a public hearing, doesn't say anything more than that. So,
I don't have an answer.
Councilor Gento?
What makes this one a little bit different, I mean, the public hearing is certainly a good idea, and we want to make sure that everybody in that neighborhood knows that we're going to discuss it, and they come down and hear everything about it. The only difference is this is a state-owned housing complex, and the Housing Authority has been very engaged with their residents that this is happening, so there really shouldn't be many surprises. So they're all going to get a notice probably tomorrow or the next day to come to the hearing if they like. But in this case, they're very much in tune with what's happening.
Okay,
Councilor Vogel?
Okay, so the hearing, and I heard a date before the next city council meeting. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
it's the same night.
Same night.
It's 15 minutes before the meeting.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to think.
I mean, not to belabor the point, but in a pure sense, you're correct. It should actually go to committee. The committee should probably meet, vote on it before we had that hearing. But that's not the way that's happening. Because it's
Got it. Understood.
de minimis de lex.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's all right. Further discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to move this to Committee on Public Utilities and Neighborhood and City Services with joint jurisdiction. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Ordinances? None. Well, let's move on to committee reports. We'll start with Budget and Finance. Councilor Tantar.
Move to remove transfer number 1.
Second.
Water retained earnings to well cleaning and rehab.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's off the table. It's out of committee. Go ahead, Councilor.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Budget and Finance considered this jointly with Public Utilities. Budget and Finance voted unanimously 3-0 to approve. This is normal maintenance on the 2 wells, well 1 and well 2. And there is sufficient money if they find they need to replace the bowl assembly. They have the money to do it. There's also a $10,000 contingency. If it's not necessary, it will return to their retained earnings.
Discussion? Councilor Augerman?
Committee on Public Utilities also voted 3-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Zede.
I just wanted to add to the information pipeline here on this. So we did ask a lot of questions in the joint hearing, and the couple thoughts I want to add are that this is for cleaning of both city wells. Currently, the city has 2, and this has funding for both to be maintained. There has been some discussion, I think, recently publicly about considering or trying to find a 3rd well, but as part of our questioning and understanding of this matter, even if a 3rd well gets drilled, both of these wells would be expected to stay online and continue to provide water. Well number 2, which is the older of the 2, is theoretically near the end of its theoretical life, but as it's been reported to us, it's actually functioning quite well.
Good deal.
And so even though it's almost, I think, around 60 years old, if anyone correct me if I'm wrong on that, it seems to be going well. So those are some of the things that we learned, and as the Ward 3 councilor mentioned, Ward 4, pardon me, this is routine and necessary to keep them in good health and good supply. Thank you.
Any other discussion? I will yield the floor to the Water Department. Is there anything the Water Department wants to add to this at this time, Kathy?
Not unless anyone has questions on it.
Thank you for joining us. If there are no questions, we'll proceed. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there anything else out of committee, Council?
Motion to remove Order 2, Odor Control Loan Order Number 2.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's out of committee.
Second.
And seconded. Discussion.
Budget and Finance met jointly with Public Utilities on this as well. This is a $4.2 million appropriation to do to work on Phase 2 and Phase 3 of the odor control project, and which has or is about to go out to bid. We previously appropriated $800,000 for the project. In committee, a question was asked as to what the impact would be on ratepayers, and the estimate would be for the average sewage user in the city, it would come to $110 per year to finance the bond. The Budget Finance voted 3-0 in favor of it.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Augerman.
Committee on Public Utilities also voted unanimously in favor of the order. The councilor from Ward 1 may remember more details, but I'll give what I can remember. This has been a long time coming, and we were all impressed. I think it's fair to say that on our committee by the consultant. And the paperwork has been very thorough, and there's been regular posting on the website. Mm-hmm. So we have a high degree of confidence in this project. It's more expensive than we were originally led to believe, but we feel this is a justified expense, and in fact, really needs to be done for the good of residents near the sewage treatment plant. Thank you.
Councilor Zede.
I just add a little bit to that as a now somewhat unofficial expert on odors at sewer plants. The main points I'd like to make that came out of our committee meeting were, number one is we asked a lot of questions about the design of the system, and feel, I will only speak for myself, but feel confident that at this point, really no stone has been left unturned. If there was something to consider, it's been considered, and actually nothing has been removed from the project. All the things that were proposed or discussed are in there, if not actually bigger than they were initially proposed. So that's number one. Number two, the biggest part of this project, without a doubt, is what's the so-called biofilter, which is the large combination of fans and ductwork and a large bed of material to absorb and sort of diffuse odors and so forth. We asked a lot of questions about that. That actually is the primary reason the project went from $3.5 million to $5 million, and the reason for that was an increase in size. We asked why bigger, and why not even bigger than that, and we actually have found out that we're sort of at the physical size limitations of the space that you have. With a biofilter, you need a large amount of space, and this is basically as big as it can be. And of course, we asked about that in comparison to capacities and future use and all those sorts of things. So confidence on that as well. We asked a lot of questions about the contingency amounts that were shown in the order here, or in the attached memo that went with it. One of them, for example, was 5%, but it was offered that we're pretty far down the road on this project, so there is confidence in the numbers. So I think, again, speaking for myself, I'm hopeful that this is it, and that this is where the project's going to land, and that because it's been so thoroughly planned, there won't be any surprises. The last three things are, we asked a lot of questions about warranties, as has often been a question with who is responsible if things don't fit, if things don't work. And we talked a lot about that, particularly with the biofilter, again, as the largest part. And there are manufacturer warranties, and then there's maintenance that we talked about that will be done by the plant operators. Last two things are timeline for the project. It will be getting underway this season, this odor season, if you will. But one critical aspect to this is there will be temporary odor controls in place. And as it's been explained, the temporary odor controls are supposed to outperform the current odor controls that are installed in the entire plant. So a lot of hope springs eternal that this will be a better summer, even though the project is happening. And we asked a lot of questions about that. And So that's the timeline, and I think those are all the pieces. So I'm supporting this. I spent a lot of time on this personally and learned a lot, and would echo the Ward 2 councilors that we've gotten good response from the consultants and a lot of hard work by the Water Sewer Commission, as well as those folks who run the plant every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Cronin.
Yes, I'm standing in support of this, but one thing that I do want to say is I just really want to thank the people of the area down there for their patience over the last years of suffering with this horrific odor. And I don't know if I would have had as much patience as they have had. And hopefully the second time we've gotten this right. And it's been a long haul for those people, but hopefully this is fixed. I hope everybody does support this.
As a former resident of that neighborhood, I can attest to the comments just made by Councilor Cronin. Additional comments or questions? I'm going to ask the clerk to read the order, please, and then we'll have a roll call vote.
That $4,200,000 is appropriated, in addition to the $800,000 previously appropriated by order of the council on January 9th, 2017, to pay costs of odor control and facility upgrades at the wastewater treatment facility, consisting of clarifier covers and a biofilter odor control system and related improvements, including the payment of all costs incidental related thereto. The treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount pursuant to 44 Section 7(1), and it continues with boilerplate for bonding. Submitted, Councilor Charles Tontar.
All right, councilors, then we'll, if there's no further discussion, we're going to proceed to a roll call vote. If you call the clerk call the roll, please.
Councilor Earls.
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman.
Yes.
Councilor Junta.
Yes.
Councilor Tontar.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Z.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Connell.
Yes.
Councilor Cronin.
Yes.
Meeting 8, bond order passes.
Thank you. Councilor Tontar, are there any other items that that come out of committee tonight?
Move to remove order number 4, senior tax work-off program order.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Are there comments? Councilor?
Yeah, Mr. President, the Budget and Finance Committee met on this and unanimously approved it. This results from the legislature amending Chapter 218, Section 127 of the Acts of 2016 that allowed for individuals in Newburyport who were over the age of 60 to volunteer 125 hours a year. And that would entitle them to a $1,000 at the time reduction in their property taxes. That has been amended by the state, allowing communities to raise it to $1,500. That's what this order would do. And again, we support this unanimously. There are approximately 40 people in Newburyport taking advantage of this now. I think we all are very much aware that some citizens in Newburyport, and especially people who have lived there here for a while, have difficulty paying taxes and some of the bills. This is one of the ways that we can help alleviate that burden, especially to the older citizens. So, strongly support it.
Thank you, Councilor. Additional comments? Councilor Z.
I'm in strong support of this as well. I just had a quick question. Is the number 40 participants a limitation of the program? Or
No.
that's the number of people? So do we have infinite, as many people who would like to do this can do this? Is that?
Well, over the age of 60. We'll meet that.
Right,
Yeah.
understood, within the parameters. Okay, thank you.
You'll get there eventually.
You get that.
Just like to learn, always like to learn something new.
Planning ahead?
Jealous.
Other comments or questions of the members, from the members? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
We are done with Budget and Finance.
Done with Budget and Finance. Thank you, Councilor. General Government.
Nothing to report.
Joint Committee on Education. Councilor Genta.
Sir. Joint Education met on Monday, February 6th, and we had 2 items that we spoke of. The first item was putting 2 languages back into the middle school. It's one of the questions that came to us from another city councilor. And the school department was nice enough to have the principal and the assistant principal from the Knock Middle School explain to us how they're going to integrate Spanish back into the middle school. So they talked about this during the last school committee meeting. I thought it was important maybe for our folks that watch city council meetings that they hear this also. So the idea is that they're going to be putting Spanish back in the Knock, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Every child will get Spanish. The 6th graders will get it every 5th day, and the 7th and 8th graders will be in Spanish class every other day. And the idea here is that by the time a student graduates from middle school, they will have completed the high school Spanish 1 class. So then they'll be able, as a freshman, to go in at Spanish 2. And then the idea would be long-term is to get an advanced placement Spanish class at the high school, which is what we're missing now. But hopefully a few years down the line, we'll be there. Some of the downsides to actually make this happen, it's going to cost about $100,000 to get the program running. They will be using the same textbook as the high school, so everything will be in line. And not every child needs to have a textbook. We just need to have enough for that 1 class that everybody's going to go through.
And online.
And online.
Yeah.
The downside was currently at the Knock, they just didn't have the space for another class. So what they're going to be doing is breaking down a computer lab and purchasing a computer cart, which actually what we hear from the teachers that they like better. So they can do that technology class in their own classroom instead of going down to a lab. The next sort of round of this is how do we get a second Spanish teacher into the Knock Middle School? And one of the big concerns is where do we put them? Because we'll need another classroom to do that. So, they're getting there. I've spoken on my joint ed report before that it was a 3-year process to get it back into the middle school, and now you're starting to see the pieces get put into place. And that was the first item that we spoke of. The second item that we spoke of was another request from a counselor to hear about the details on our current busing contract with Slater. Currently, our bus contract costs the city of Newburyport $792,000 a year. It's a 3-year contract. It escalates every year. The one thing that we found out about this contract was a little bit disappointing is when it goes out to bid, which it does every 3 years, we actually only had 1 bidder. So whether it's a good number or bad number, we don't know.
It's the number.
It's the only number that we got. So this contract expires this year, so hopefully we will get some other bidders to just get some competition on this number. I had asked, I know students pay to ride the bus, and some students do, and I had asked, how does that work? And they said families pay $300 for each student, and for the first 2 students, and then it's $100 for each student after that. And believe it or not, doing that brought in almost $200,000. So that's a positive, but unfortunately there's $600,000 that we don't make up on the bus contract. And that is pretty much it. Our next meeting is Monday, March 6th at 5:30 at room 118 in the high school if anybody wants to join us. And if anybody from the public has a topic that they want us to speak about, just please email me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any questions? Councilor Hagerman.
Just one question on the busing. Is there a minimum distance that a student has to be, or anybody can pay the $300?
Is it by, do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the
Go
specifics,
ahead.
but busing is mandated a certain distance away depending upon your grade. Within that, if you're within that unmandated zone, you can pay. Does that answer your question? And it's by grade. I don't know the distances, but it changes by grade level. So you can pay no matter how far. If you live next door, you can pay.
Okay.
On the secondary level, it's 2 miles. I believe it's 1.5 for the elementary. I'm not certain of that, though.
I was just going to say, from my past experiences, there's no criteria for high school at all to supply bus service. And then as it goes down for the elementary.
I mean, I'm sorry. The reason I ask is not because I want to deprive kids of the service. It's just obviously the buses come in chunks. You can't get a fraction of a bus. So if we might save some money if we were more efficient about who rides. That's all. Thanks.
Councilor Genta?
Yeah. So, yeah, anybody that is under high school, we offer bus service to, and that's actually all the schools.
Yeah.
IC, the charter, all the schools. So that's a service that we do. And once you get out without a certain mileage or I think age also, then you can buy in. And that's one of the, when we were having our budget session that Saturday a few weeks back, that was one of the things that was discussed at our table is financially, does it make sense to bus every student that you don't have to, because literally a seat on a bus costs anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000, but we only take in $300.
No, you're reading my mind. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I mean, it took us years to scrape together $100,000 for Spanish. So, we have the advantage of a nice compact, most of the city. It's cost benefit. That money could be put towards curriculum. So thank you.
Councilor Earls? And then Councilor Genta.
It was during the breakout sessions, during the budget meeting on a few Saturdays ago, at least a couple of parents did say they'd be willing to pay the full price of that if we could get more programs into the schools. They know that they're being subsidized. I believe, just a quick discussion with the superintendent, they're going to be looking into that, actually, what kind of savings can happen if it's full price. And of course, it'd be available for like students with free and reduced lunch. Their families would be able to pay a reduced fee, to be fair.
Yeah.
So we are looking into that. Money is tight. We'd like to bring programs back in. And the first initial stab was that parents were saying, yes, we'd be willing to pay. Now, this all happened 15 years ago because of safety. That's why we started this, because we didn't want so many students walking, especially on the sidewalks condition they are. So that's why this started. It was for the safety of the students that we offered them the bus services at a fairly significant reduced fee. Maybe the time is to start creeping that up, just a lot like we did with sports. We crept that up a bit. So the hockey, for example, the fee to play hockey is closer in line with what it actually cost.
Councilor Genta, do you want to be recognized?
Sure. I just want to give some numbers to what a seat actually costs, because we did do this math in our meeting. There's 17 buses right now. A bus costs about $46,000, and there's 71 seats in a bus. So each seat costs about $2,741. What the superintendent told us is that they actually don't use all 71 seats. Once you get knapsacks, musical instruments, and athletic gear in there, you're really looking at 55 seats a bus, which is, each seat is worth more around $5,000. So for $300, you're getting a hell of a deal.
Councilor Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, I thank you for all of this information, and I don't know if this is a conversation for us or maybe going to one of your meetings and talking to the school committee. I mean, for us to be shelling out $700,000 and losing, $6,000 on it, $600,000, right? Because you said we're getting $200,000 back, but I think when you start raising prices, people start using it less, and I think you would then, you run the risk. And my own family, we chose not to shell out $600 because we can deal with the morning pretty easily, and we kind of cobble it together in the afternoon and figure out our own transportation. And you see I mean, you see how many cars there are at the high school, drop-offs at the Bresnahan, it's Car City, and it's a real challenge. So, my math is to get to $200,000, it's 600 or so students, and we've got 2,000, I think, right? In our system, and whatever at the charter school, and whatever at the IC. And I know the high school, we don't necessarily have to provide buses, but I think the whole thing needs to be looked at. Maybe you bring it in-house instead of having a vendor do it. If we've only got one bid, we're pretty much, and if buses are $46,000 each, I mean, we could spend a little time in doing the math, but, look for something else. I mean, as we've said, saving $100,000 can start to bring some other programming back. I was always a walker back in the day, so I never took the bus, but a lot of those buses are pretty empty, at least the ones I've seen, so.
5 miles uphill both ways, right?
It's a safety.
Yeah, in snow, rain, or
Barefoot.
sun.
Barefoot. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Councillor. Okay, we're moving on to license and permits. Is there anything from license and permits tonight?
Motion to remove communication 011-13017.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Councillor?
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. Is there discussion? Councillor Vogel.
Thank you. The two members of the license and permits met, and in the original packet of last city council meeting, you may or may not have noticed that the insurance bond was missing. I brought that to the attention of the clerk, I think the next day, and it was delivered promptly to City Hall. So the packet is complete, and it was a 2-0 vote in favor of approval.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Any other items, Councilor?
No, thank you. Thank you.
Neighborhood and City Services, nothing tonight. Planning and Development.
Nothing to report.
Public Safety.
Yes, Mr. President, motion to remove communication 001.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's out of committee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Councilor Cronin?
This is the Bresnahan Elementary School fundraiser, Spring Fever 5K and Family Fun Run. It's probably been going on for 15 years or so, as I remember running it back in the day. We've had no complaints on it that I'm aware of in my tenure here, and it was 3-0 coming out of committee. You'll notice on the application that it was not signed by the clerk. He signed the main approval that's in the master packet and in City Council, so everything is in order.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Anything else from
Nothing further.
Public Safety? Public Utilities?
Just some housekeeping, Mr. President. Motion to take out in tandem transfer 001 and order 002.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilor?
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion to receive and file both of those items?
Yep, as moot. Already
Receive-
voted on.
Motion is to receive and file. No further, is there further discussion? Excuse me. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there anything else from Public Utilities tonight, Councilor?
No, sir.
Okay. Rules Committee,
Nothing to report.
good of the order. Councilor Zede.
I'd just like to announce 2 upcoming meetings regarding Plum Island that were just firmed up this week. Thursday, March 2nd, 6:30 p.m. at the Plum Island Taxpayers Association Hall in Newbury. Will be a public meeting. The primary focus and point of the meeting is to discuss beach access and as it relates erosion, particularly out on the northern end of Plum Island, as I'm sure some of you have heard quite a bit about. That's a very important meeting. It starts at 6:30 p.m. and is scheduled to go until about 8. There'll be a few short presentations, but the bulk of the meeting will be a discussion. This meeting is the first one. The second one I'd like to let you know about is Sunday, March 5th. This will be held at 1 p.m. It's a site visit, so it'll be a meeting at the parking lot at the northern end of Plum Island to actually walk around and see the different paths and so forth. These were both scheduled purposefully in the evening and on the weekends to try and maximize participation and allow folks that have to work to be able to attend. For those who don't know, the reason or the impetus for these meetings is a coastal zone management grant that the city applied for and received. CZM is another state agency and has provided this funding to study the beach access. And so it's being headed up by Julia Gottfredson, our conservation administrator, as well as the National Wildlife Federation in cooperation with UNH and DCR, who of course owns the property, actually owns the beach out there. So these are this obviously was is a very important issue, and just wanted to encourage everybody who's listening to please attend, bring your comments, and hoping for big participation. Thank you.
What time is the March 5th one?
March 5th starts at 1 p.m. meeting time in the parking lot at and then they'll be come dressed to walk. I don't know what the weather will be like.
And the date on the first meeting is?
Thursday, March 2nd for the first one, and Sunday, March 5th for the second. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
What time's the Thursday meeting?
6:30.
6:30. Well, I asked the clerk to see if we can get those posted on the...
Already on this. They're already on the city website.
City website?
Yep.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
Any other items for the good of the order? Or, hearing none,
Motion
then we're
adjourned.
going to move into executive session for the purposes of discussing legal strategy. This is going to be a roll call vote. We will not be coming out of executive session into public session at the close of our exec. I'll need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. And a roll call order, please. Roll call, please.
Councilor Earls?
Yes.
Councilor Eigenman?
Yes.
Councilor Junta?
Yes.
Councilor Tontar?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Connell?
Yes.
Councilor Cron?
Yes.
I ask members to turn off their microphones and are forced to clear the room.
Jared, do you have any interest in the bus contract?